Welcome back to the channel. My name's Kyle, and it's a little bit different here. We're not on a post frame job site. We're at my house. So this was a weird coincidence of events, and Mother's Day, I had nothing for my wife. It's Greg, learn from me. Don't do this stuff because it leads to things like this. So me and my daughter were thinking, how can we do something for my wife? She was off with her mother shopping for plants, and we're like, let's get her some deck furniture. So we go to the store, we're looking at deck furniture. We're like, nah, you know what? Mom wants the deck redone. So what did I do? In a quick decision-making fiasco, I said, let's tear the deck up, let's redo it. It'll be easy. Well, that was 2 weeks ago, and this has been like kind of a little process with my kids. Everybody has helped. So it's been like our weekend little project, and I need to get it done. I got Greg, it's a work day, we're gonna do it. So let me kind of take you through what we already did. Okay, obviously we spent a whole day just tearing up deck boards. All the screws, half of them were rusted off. They were garbage square heads, so they weren't easy to get to. They stripped easily, but my kids were straight champions. My daughter especially sat out there all day with me. I mean, my daughter was a straight savage that day. She stayed out there the whole day pulling screws, and my son, until he had to leave for another thing that he had going. It was awesome. So we got all the deck boards off. We got the railing removed. Don't look at the framing and say, Kyle, you guys did a horrible job. I've actually been trying to straighten things out, and I've added additional framing. It's a really solid deck. Like the framing is in good condition. It just wasn't done with the most level of accuracy and squareness. So I've had to mess with things, make it square. And what you'll see here is I'm adding another rim board. So we're using a cedar tone treated deck board. I know I'm gonna get like, why didn't you just go composite, Kyle? I know you're OCD and you overdo everything, but listen, this deck my kids are getting older. I don't know how long I'm even gonna have this pool, so I didn't wanna invest in like a forever deck. I wanted something that's gonna get me 5-10 years with little to no maintenance. So we've got a pre-stained finished deck board, but it's a treated wood, and I'm gonna make a cool little design. Just because I do think it's for the next person, whoever that is, if it's me, if it's somebody else, I went ahead and I'm burning up some tape on all the joists because they had all the original holes from the deck boards. I didn't want water just going into the board and swelling and causing issues. So I'm taping everything over to make sure that it's protected as well as possible. And then we're gonna do a new aluminum rail. My wife absolutely hates this lattice, so Greg's going around cutting that all up right now. We're just gonna make a nice new deck, and it's gonna be economical. So I thought, you know what? Let's turn it into a video. I wasn't going to, but maybe this is gonna help a lot of people out there because I think this is basically like 90% of the decks in America right here, and we're gonna redo it and make it look good. So with that, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so I'm gonna have an 8-foot set of steps here in the front. And that means I've got to get my railing figured out before we cover this all up. So I've gone through, and we're going to be doing an aluminum rail. So we're not doing the traditional like 4x4 post. We wanted something a little bit sleeker, more modern. And I love the aluminum rail that we've used in the past. So that's what we're going to use here. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting blocking. We'll get blocking installed so when our decking comes over top of it, we'll have solid framing underneath that we can screw to. So I'm just going around checking my layout. So our railing comes in either 6 or 8 foot sections. The 6-footers are stock. The 8-footers, go ahead and hold me on the outside of the framing. So I don't just run my rail at like the maximum. I just hit the maximum on my tape measure.
So you're at 27 feet?
No,
nine.
Probably like 27 and some change. So that's 26 and 15 inches. So 27.3. 27 foot 3 inch divided by 5, which means 5 foot 5 and 3/8 is my spacing for my post. So then I'm just going to make a quick mark so we can get all this blocking done. In my experience, it's easy to get ahead of yourself and start laying deck boards like I've done. But in that area, I did make sure I got my blocking done. It's just, I wanted to appease my wife and show her some progress last weekend. So I went ahead and put some deck boards done, knowing that I still had a lot of other stuff to do. So just a little tip, lay out your railing, get your blocking, do all of that stuff before you jump into putting your boards down because you think, I just want to see it done. So I'm just gonna make a quick mark, and this is unfortunate because this framing block here is like right in the middle, which means I'm probably gonna have to block on both sides, which I might end up doing anyway here. I don't know, we'll see. So we'll just hit +5, 5, 3/8, 10, 10, 3/4, 10, 10, 3/4, 16, 4 and 1/8. So I think you guys get the idea. Evenly space it, even though the railing is 6-foot increments. That doesn't mean you want to necessarily run full 6-footers, because then you're going to have an odd measurement when you get to your end. At the end of the day, I think I spent an entirety of $2,600 on all my miscellaneous framing and deck boards for this project. And when I talk about not using composite, composite would have been over $10,000, and it just didn't make sense to my wife and I, knowing that we're probably not going to keep this deck or the pool maybe once the kids are gone, you know? It's a little bit excessive. I could have gotten away with a 2x6, but I don't have any 2x6. So what I'm going to do here, because of my deck layout, I'm going to do a picture frame around the outside. You guys have probably seen that. If you haven't, stay tuned. But what it means is, normally you might just run your deck boards something like this, and they're just going to come over the edge. You're going to cut them. That's fine. But then you have like the visual of the end grain. It's not as pretty. So what I like to do is I'm going to miter this corner like so with a deck board that's going to go around the perimeter, and then the boards will line up like this on the inside. So it creates like a picture frame effect. The problem is this board, there's nothing under here to end on. And this board, it will just wobble. These boards are too far apart because the last guy that framed this didn't think about it. And these are just random blocking. You know, I would normally go like every 16 inches, every 2 foot, whatever, so that you could do this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna frame in between like so that I've got a place for my perpendicular boards to screw to, and I'll have a solid place to put my perimeter picture frame. It's a little bit of a waste of material, but at the end, I think it'll make it all worth it. Okay, that looks pretty decent. I need to get across. It feels a little high. Oh, this board's a little bit low. We're not going to be able to fix everything. We're going to try to just do our best with what we have. A wooden deck is a little bit more forgiving than if we were doing composite decking. I would definitely need to take even more time to make sure everything was right where it needed to be. Greg, I wore my safety orange today because you wore your safety yellow yesterday.
At least one of us has to be safe at all times.
That's right. You never know when a piece of machinery is going to back up and not see you here. I was this close to tearing all this deck down and redoing it, and I got talked off the ledge by my wife, actually. So I really did want to. My original plan was I was going to lower this whole section, make like a low patio, and then with a step-up deck. It's the problem, man. I like working for other people because their ideas is like, hey, whatever you want me to do, we're just going to do it. But when it gets into my own head, I start thinking about all the things we could do. It's not good. It's not good. Just need to get it done. All right, that is done. It's not perfectly straight. We'll straighten it out when we deck. I got to block these railing, and then I'm going to go ahead and tape all this over. And then I think I'm ready to start laying some deck boards. My goal is to kind of run this way, get this detail done here, which is angled back the other way, and then we'll get over here and we'll just kind of work our way around one section at a time. Nice. Cool. So this is just Weather Logic tape, which, you know, it's nothing specific for decking. Here's my thought. If it's good enough to protect the barrier of my house, it's probably good enough to protect the top and to seal up any penetrations that are going through for my deck. It's not a, maybe they don't market it as that because Weather Logic and LP don't do decking, but I've used the deck board. Look at that's where I hit my finger. I've used the deck tape, and this is not far off, so I think it's going to be just fine. And I had some extra boxes of it. You know, it's cool. I talked about how I was going to run a picture frame so I don't have to see end grain. And then here I am. I'm gonna look at this framing end grain for the rest of my life. All right, let's get all this taped. Also, notice I left that board long. I'm gonna be smarter this time, and I will butt in my fascia board going around, the rim fascia going around the outside, and then we'll cut that exactly where it's supposed to go. I didn't think about that here, but also Greg gave you some leverage.
Yep.
You were able to kind of tweak that around. So, yep. Greg, you go ahead, put screws, you know, check it out. These are number 10 R4s? Are these RSSs?
These are RSSs.
Yeah. I thought I don't know if they changed the head on these, but I'm loving these things, man. They grab and suck in good. I wish they were colored a little better for the decking, but maybe GRK can come out with some deck colored screws like that. Do they have them? I've never seen them.
Well, I think they do, but I don't know if they have them in the RSSs.
You know, Greg, these are Speedy lag bolt alternatives, and these are AC 257 treated lumber approved.
Perfect.
Just structural screws. What do you know? You can use screws on a structure. You know, especially if you're doing a lot of flat blocking like this for designed decking, you really want to consider the taping, because all that flat wood just is a recipe for disaster. It's going to hold all that moisture in there, and at least this way, it'll be protected. You know what I've always wondered though, Greg?
What's that?
What about the top side of the other deck's board that go down?
Maybe we should tape those too.
Yeah, let's pre-tape all of our decking before we lay it down.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way,
yeah,
my wife and kids loved taping.
What?
No, I'm joking, dude.
Oh.
They complained about taping these joists forever. And my wife was almost like, dude, if it rots, it rots. Let's go ahead and get this laid out here in the middle. Let's figure out where we need to snap a line so I can get my first two set. And we'll snap our angle here. We need to try to line up exactly with this side. I need to properly space this, and I'm gonna have two boards, okay? Then we need to make sure that this miter is lined up so that when I come over, it'll be the same point. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't want to just arbitrarily do my angle. So what I'm thinking is, this point is out here in the middle of space. I can't really define it, but this one is on some framing. So if I get a measurement to the front of the deck, I'm at 98 7/8. So my point needs to be at 98 7/8. And if I properly space these, it's about 11.5 inches. So if I do an 11.5 mark,
okay,
and then I come back 98 7/8, okay,
on that mark
right here, this is where I'm going to have you hold. Okay. We're going to snap a line, and then that will be where we get our first board started.
And so are you going to go down that corner, measure over to where this board
That's
is on the
right,
bottom?
because this is a 45-degree pitch. So what I'll do is, you were 98 7/8?
Correct.
So 110 3/8. All right, now let's snap that line. And this will be the angle of this, this side of the deck. And if done properly, it should match up perfectly with over there. Okay, cool. So that's our first deck. Now the next thing we need to do is, let's cut one at 45.
Correct.
And space it properly so that we know where we're, and then we're gonna track saw all this. So we're not gonna have to run anything perfect. We'll make it perfect later, okay? All right, so just hold that tight, okay?
I want to be like right there, dog.
Yep. Now what I wanna do, Greg, is take two boards, and we're just gonna use them as our guide.
Okay.
All right? To properly space this one. So this is where this is gonna be, and then I want the proper spacing to here. So now line up with your line. So this is a little bit tricky. I kind of wish, Greg, that I didn't cut this, because it would give me something to put this on. So I don't really have a way to, does that make sense?
Right, could you just, I mean, you got the skills to pay the bills. Could you just hit that screw from the side?
Yeah, but also this is very thin right here. I don't have much to, I mean, I'm sitting on about 3/4, which is probably fine, but I don't have much to screw onto. Let's throw another 2x8 right here. I'll tape this and then you cut me another little scrap. 13 5/8.
So about like this?
Oh, is that, whoa, buddy.
Wait, is that really?
What the heck?
There's no way.
What the heck?
There's no way.
So I always, whenever I lay out the deck, I always try to find the longest deck board. And in this instance, the biggest part of the triangle. And that way we can start with as long of a straight line as possible. Could you imagine cutting a 45 and starting with a tiny piece right here and working out? There's no way that would work.
No.
So now, Greg, we're good to start laying in pieces. Problem with an angled deck is the waist. So we want to look at, but I don't want any joints. So if they're not fulls, then we just grab another one, you know what I'm saying? So when I lay a deck, it's a good question, I always look at the grain on the end of the board. It's just like doing stairs. So right now it's smiling.
Right. So like as it relaxes,
as it dries out, it's going to cup. And I don't want to
a little bit because it's sad because it's dying.
Yeah, we don't want water to be sitting on our board, so I always try to get it so that when it dries out, it's going to be cupped up, not a bowl.
Right, because the tension of the wood is going to want to like.
That's what they say. I don't know. I feel like almost that it would go the opposite way and that it would curl up more. You know, like dead things curl. They kind of like, you know, you see old people walking around there like this.
At the same time, if
they've
you lay them on the bed, they just kind of.
True. Then they lay in the bed and then they.
Right.
So I don't know. Goes both ways. All right, Greg, so here's the other thing we need to do is I need to make sure I know where this cut is. Yeah, 4 3/4. So I just took my square. This is just for future. This is so I don't screw past this line because this is where we will cut off the deck boards. A lot of times in my career, I didn't even space my deck boards at all. I just jammed them as tight as possible.
Heck yeah. Smooth
because
surface.
I've seen so many boards like open up and you got like an inch gap and you're like, what the heck am I gonna do now?
Treated boards for whatever reason shrink.
Well, they're filled with so much moisture that they're swollen up.
Then once they dry out, they. Oh boy, this is how I hurt my back actually the other day. I mean, really, you can't go wrong with that.
No. Let's track saw this, but we won't track saw the front until we get around the corner. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna go eat lunch, but before we do anything else, we also need to make sure we router this edge. And that's because we don't want a sharp edge. So my original plan was to do something like that, and then, pretty sure I don't need to show you, but you know, I would have done this with a border, and I had a double border. Problem is, this is where the center of my stairs are gonna go, and I did not want all this going on right here. So my wife and I decided we'll have our border go all the way around, we'll router these edges, and it'll be a nice, clean transition to step on and off the deck. It's hard to be perfect when the boards are not, you know?
Right.
Right there?
Yep.
So now we know the limits over here, so we can start running again. We'll have to run with a couple 16s to start because it's long.
Okay.
And, okay, cool, let's go.
There you go. Thunder Thigh Thursday on Wednesday.
I've always been very self-conscious of my fat thighs, you know? I know nowadays it's like the bigger the leg, the better. But when I was growing up, dude, it was different. Times were hard, man. So what I like to do is I'm gonna take myself a little scrap piece of board, okay? And I'm gonna run this to the pool edge like so. So we're just gonna take off a little bit of this. And even though it's never gonna be a perfect circle, as a pool owner, when you wanna get your covers on, if this is cut too close, you can't get your hands in here and get the cable around and stuff. But if it's too far away, then you worry about your toes going in there and it being uncomfortable and something getting stuck. So you don't want it too tight, but you don't want it too far away. I found that basically an inch away is probably all you need it to be. And I could be wrong. I'm sure there's people that will argue with me in the comments, but I just say do whatever you want, you know?
Do it how you want to do it, Kyle.
This is my pool and I'm the contractor, so I'm gonna do it exactly how I want. Because the last person that did this deck didn't leave us enough room here and I had to deal with it as a homeowner. I don't know if I kind of shared it, but check it out. So look at the handle. So it opens up and then it springs back so that it holds there. All you really have to do is just kind of keep it down from popping up. And there's different dimensions, so you can change it for different deck boards. You can put different thicknesses on. I did have it on me. I don't know where it went. So that you can do different spacings. I got it kind of as small as possible because this is all going to shrink eventually. But when you're doing like composites specifically, you might need a little bit bigger spacing because it will expand in the heat depending on the time of day and year that you're installing it. First deck I ever did was probably my own. I did a lot of my firsts on my farmhouse remodel the first time around and kind of learned as much as I could before I did other people's stuff.
That front porch?
Yeah, and that's why those are spaced so freaking huge. Because I just followed the rules, spaced it appropriately, and then, you know, 2 years later, I could stick my dang hand between the boards because they shrunk so bad, you know? And it was at that moment I realized, yeah, I'm not spacing treated boards that much. So when Greg lays out boards, for me, no wood is perfect. It just doesn't happen. So most boards have some form of a crown to them, right? Or they're bowed, however you want to look at it. I always say crown is when you stand the board up, if it crowns. You always want to, first off, make sure it's cupped the right way for water, but also crowned in so that it will bow away from me over there. And the reason, and this is maybe just preference, but when I get started down here, his end is gonna gap. It makes it easier to tighten up and keep the middle consistent to the end than if it's the other way around. It's hard to squeeze in the middle sometimes unless you have mechanical advantage, which we do have our new DeWalt construction jack, which is pretty sweet. Jeez. That was the one I needed. No, I really do need that, man.
It's your spacer board, dog.
That's like my perfect spacer board.
Oh my gosh. Where's there an opening?
No opening. You're down there forever. I mean, let's be honest though, Greg, you were looking for something to do.
Well, now who's gonna get you your board?
Well, I'm good right now.
I need.
I was gonna go get a tank top, wasn't I? You didn't remind me because you don't want me to have like a sexy tan, and you do that one with your. Everybody was like, "Wait, is Greg wearing a T-shirt underneath this cutoff?" What if a guy had an extension bit that was like way obscenely long and unnecessary, just happened to be in his pouch? So no miter?
No miter.
You know, I understand what you guys are saying, and you definitely are probably commenting you gotta miter it, but no, we're gonna go ahead and do a butt joint here. we're gonna probably have to face screw this.
You want to face screw it?
Let's take a look at that. And maybe it'll angle in and go right in, you know? Well, this worked out pretty decent. Greg, here's what you can do, because I don't need you. Not that I don't need you, I love you, okay? I love you. Go ahead and start getting 12-footers, lay them out, and lay them across the deck. And then we'll just go to town, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I hope the internet doesn't hate me for not mitering. I live my life seeking approval from people on the internet. Okay, so there's one space. There always is a variance in wood thicknesses too, so not much I can really do about it. We can always fudge the spacing a little bit. Obviously I want it really close, and then at the end I want to be like 4 3/4, and I'm 3 3/4, so clearly I did inchitis somewhere in there. Not really sure, no big deal. Rather catch it now than later, so good thing I caught it now. I just lined up the first one so I have my first track saw mark and I don't have to go over top of a board.
Yep. So I'll move these out of the way then. Helicopter, helicopter.
Get that past my ugly mark there. Stabila challenge.
Wow.
Flat, dude.
We did good.
That was really flat. Did I do this side already? No.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh yeah. You guys, this has actually been going pretty good. We got a little routine going. Greg's my feed master with the screws. Working good, dude. Just seeing how 2 pieces fit in there, because, you know.
Right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not bad. That will definitely make it look much nicer when those 2 boards come in and you won't have these sharp edges for your feet to catch on. And this will just kind of weather in. We can hit it up with some stain if we want, but yeah, that's gonna look nice. So I'm just putting a face screw into the deck framing, and then we'll come through and do another hidden screw. It'll be all underneath the rail, so you'll really never see it, but I think it's a little bit stronger connection, especially for the board that's hanging over the edge. And we got, what do we got, Greg? A little bit extra? Here, give me a little push on this.
1 3/8.
So here we're just gonna hook edge to edge.
Those are 16s, yeah?
I don't know. I would assume so. Yeah, so this one is gonna be 161 7/8. And then we've got this outside board also. So we're gonna need 3 16s, Greg. All right, I went ahead and routed these edges, and now I'm gonna go ahead and just get the same consistent gap like so. We'll do the same thing. I've got basically a 7/8 overhang, so we'll go 1 5/8. So I'm just gonna make a little mark. I'm just gonna check for, well, it's about the same. This is a little spread out. Same. So we need 1 5/8 kind of regardless. So we're just gonna go down every 16, 1 5/8. All right, and I need to get a screw here, and then we'll cut these ends, router these ends off. Yo, we got a little bit of gap to deal with, thanks to maybe the board we use as a template was a little thick, Greg. Holy, I'm not digging that, man. These are much smaller than.
Well, those 12s fit fine.
I know, look at it. 16s are a little thinner. 12s might be fresher and they might be a little bit more swollen with stuff. Here's the deal. I'm gonna face screw these, and maybe if I don't like, or I'll just put the regular those ones in, and if I don't like them, I'll pull them out and replace them. That's too big of a gap, dude. All right, is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and put a seam. I mean, all my borders have seams because deck's 40 feet long, 30 feet long, whatever. We're gonna put a joint right across one of these blockings, so it'll be nice and strong. I'll router the edges. I think it'll look fine. The problem is these 16 footers are not the same size as my 12 footers, which I use to space this across. I should have thought about that, but it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, I've been messing around here, a little bit here, a little bit there. This deck has been like kind of a weekend warrior thing. I did get Greg for most of a day, and we busted out a lot of this decking over here, and it looks great. And it's motivated me to just, you know what, get on it, get it done. It's the weekend right now. I might get some help from the kids today, maybe even my wife, but I'm gonna go ahead and jump on this, try to get out of this angled area and transition to where it's just gonna be a straight shot all the way down. I do gotta run after some more material, I already know that, but if you guys are curious why I've been changing clothes and different days, it's because this has been just a couple hours here, a couple hours there, but let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. And just like that, one board out of, I don't know, the next 70 or so. All right, I got this next section of angled decking done, and that means I am ready to go down the last section, which is just perpendicular decking. So I got my first board on, snapped a line there, and that's all secure. So now they should just stack all the way to the other end. I am missing some framing, you'll notice way down there on the end. I need to get a couple more 2x8s. First off to go down this end, but then also to finish my blocking down there. That's because these boards die into a border board, which means there's nothing there to screw my end. This gives me something to screw my end onto. So like right here, I can screw the end and then the border can sit on here, and then it also will give me solid blocking for my railing. That being said, get this set up and we'll just go ahead and hopefully bust these out. All right, we got to start this board just about perfectly where it's going to go. So I just use a couple boards as templates. Make sure you don't step on any dog turds on the way.
No, I saw you clean them all up.
I tried, but I'm human, man. All right, I brought back in the big guns, Greg. I couldn't get all this done on my weekend because I ran out of boards. So I got more boards, got some more framing so I can finish this all off. And we're gonna get the rest of this deck done here. And then I'm thinking we'll get all this lattice tore off, we'll get it prepped. Maybe we'll get the stairs started, but the railing is definitely gonna be another day. So let's just get this wrapped up, huh, Greg? I need to get this project cleaned up, and I've already got a list like a mile long for more projects to do, so. You know, if I got an 8-foot rail,
I'd just do one. I wouldn't put a center post there.
oh, hey, remember that spacer board?
Son of a gun.
I think this is only the 4th time you've gone under the deck for my spacer board. And that's what I pay you the big bucks for, man. Literally, you're here for that. Oh, there you are. Yep, perfect. Thanks, buddy. I won't say that you never helped me.
Feel like Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, you're a little tight on that one. I see, that's a really tight one too. How'd that get so tight there? This must be a different board?
Nope, that's the same board.
No.
Probably soaked up some water.
No. Oh, dang it, man.
I'm just gonna be the guy that lives under your deck.
This is where it gets a little bit, you know, I got a little bit more overhang here, but I don't think it's a big deal, you know? What do you think?
I don't.
I mean, on a radius pool, you're not gonna have perfect framing everywhere. I'm using the GRK system, but camo, whatever. These are actually camo screws because I ran out of the GRK ones. And the tips are flat as can be. Look at that. That's so when you go right alongside your deck board, it doesn't split on you. So it reminds me back in the day when I used to do like cedar cladding and stuff, I would take all my nails, you know, so you wouldn't split, and you'd, if you didn't have like a flat blunt cedar nail, you'd basically just take the tip off of a nail and it won't split because it pushes through versus spreads the lumber. So I don't know, pretty cool. This allows you to get pretty close, which obviously in a deck, like here when I'm screwing right alongside the edge, I don't have to worry about it splitting nearly as bad. Was I speaking like to myself or
Is that
out
what it sounded
loud?
like? You whispered?
No. Did I say that my kneecaps were like super slimy?
Yeah, that was out loud.
You know, these might be the first safety glasses that actually keep the stuff out of my eyes, man. No more. There we go. We got really close. We're an inch and a half from the board is an inch and a half overhang, which I wanted a little bit more overhang than 0. So when we add our treated board to the edge, it's going to be flush. So we're just going to go ahead and get a 3/4 board, which is fine. That's fine. Let's get this track saw, big guy, and then we'll get all these borders filled in, eh? Go ahead and hit that snap line, dog. Yeah, that's all we needed. Oh, that is a nice line.
That is a nice line.
Nice and clean, dude. I think the track saw was invented for the deck man. We'll get this blown off. Let's get our ledger attached to it, and then border time. Catch me.
What's that sticking right there, like 3 foot down? There's something on the top of that board,
Where?
like behind it. It's like keeping it away. See that? What is that?
A freaking nail, dog.
Oh, dog. Saw's
Here.
right there
Where?
on the corner.
Up. There. Don't let it go. Look at the moisture. Look at that, just ooze out. All right, we're gonna go ahead and clean up, and then it'll be on to borders. I'm gonna have to pick up a 1x for the back because a 2x is just too thick to get an overlap back here with a deck board. So kind of sucks because I don't have it. Yeah, let's just, now that we're there, like, what is it? Yeah, to me that looks like you just sucked. You know what I'm saying?
It'll be about that gap.
To me that sucks.
See, I think on the back here, you're never gonna notice it. I mean, yeah, if it's gonna bother you, then yeah, put a 1x on. But I think since it's right there on the back side where no one's gonna see it except you and the birds and the squirrels, maybe Louie.
Yeah, but what if a friend comes over and we walk around the yard because I want to show off like my grass or something, you know? And like, what happened here, Kyle? Why didn't you have like a nice overhang?
It's kind of like, you know, what your mom always thought the guests were gonna do when she said clean the house because we got guests coming over. You got to clean the closet, clean the bathrooms, clean underneath your bed. Like the guests are gonna come over there and look. I don't think they're gonna look at this, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's probably pointless.
I think you got the boards here, just do it. Get it done.
Yeah. All right, man, you talked me into it. All right.
That's just my opinion. This is your
Hey, whatever,
this
dude.
is your build.
You know what? When my friend does want to look at my grass and he mentions that, I'll be like, well, you ever heard of Greg? The guy that I had to
let me
fire
tell you,
because he talked me into
if he's coming to look at your grass, he's gonna see that and be like, what a shame.
That's my dog. Wait, 10 what? Okay, I'm just gonna make sure this is somewhat balanced. I mean, it is unfortunate, but. All right, all the deck boards are down. Time for border. Nah. That's where it goes. That's where you put your dust collection, but I don't have it here. So I bet you that would have done pretty good though. Look at that. It routers all the debris right into that little hole. I've never seen that design. I'm sure somebody's already doing that and they copy the design, but I've never seen that on a battery powered router. That's pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna make some marks real quick. You know, the good thing about this is we're gonna be putting railing lags through all this. So these little face screws, I'm not too worried if they don't have the most amazing holding power, not having a huge old head on them. They'll do their job for now. That looks really nice.
Heck yeah. Drum roll, please. That's where you want it?
No, I just said then.
Okay. I'm like, oh.
Oh, man.
That's a gap. Thought you were cutting them long. Hold that board. It's pretty smooth.
All right. YouTube, what do you guys think? Did Greg do it better or did Cole do it better?
Well, if you look at Greg's, there's...
I'd agree.
That's not on me. That's on the bed.
That's smooth right there.
But look at how like jagged it is. See all the ins and outs. Mine's pretty straight.
Look at the different warps in my board compared to yours.
Yeah.
All right.
Look at that.
See, that's a little tight, but it's going to shrink a little bit. I'm going to router that and run it. This is a risky business here, but hopefully this screw does what it's supposed to do and it doesn't split. It'll split in about a week. That turned out good though, huh?
That does look good.
Yeah.
We did pretty good.
That's good teamwork, man.
Good teamwork.
Okay.
What do you think?
I like it, man. Nice job. I might be able to wiggle it where I want it.
There you go.
Now, the goal, see if we can't get it started.
Now that you have the glue on there, it's going to be even slipperier.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Kind of like lift it up. No. Lift it up and then out.
Oh, I see.
And then hopefully we can kind of
Work it down.
Work it down. It's going to probably get stuck in some places. Hopefully not.
It must still be connected there.
Not anymore.
Don't know what you're talking about.
See, but once we get to this corner, I gotta, it's kind of.
Just break it free. Just rip it out of there. Be a man.
Rip it?
Rip it. Come on. Be a man.
I think my wife might be more happy about the lattice being gone than the deck being done. Oh, I should have my gloves on. Greg, I put my hand in a screw like 3 times. Hi-ho. You're supposed to say hi-ho back.
Oh. Hi-ho.
Yeah. Hi-ho.
Nice. Oh, I thought you were chucking that. I thought game over.
That'd be bad news. Dude, how about that though? It needs a little bit of something, maybe some bushes or something, but that is a game changer, just getting rid of that ugly, moldy, nasty lattice. The only problem I see is that I didn't do a good job of picking up all the boards that I was cutting. I didn't think far enough ahead, so now I probably have to pay my kids or Greg to climb under there because I don't think I'm going to. It's really just at these transition points that I let them go. I might be able to get under there and get most of them. All these stupid bolts. This is nice. Previous homeowner here. This is my electrical coming out of the house. Got an outdoor rated cable. Just buried far enough to get under the deck. That's nice. I'm gonna have to mess with that because that ain't good. It's things you don't see, you know. You don't see that crap when you're buying a home. Nice. More electrical. Just randomly going out to the ground. Awesome. Huh. Well, that shouldn't be too hard to trench in. That goes to this shed here, I think. It has to. Now this is where it starts getting a little bit lower.
That's where you dropped all those boards actually that I had to go under and pick up.
Oh, come on. Why do people do things so janky? What's up with this electrical? It's like just randomly ran and just hanging. I should have fixed it when I had the chance. All right, guys, so deck done, lattice gone. We got work to do here still. I need some direction from my wife on what she wants to do for underneath. I don't know. I just knew that the lattice had to go. I know what I'm gonna do for my steps. I know what I'm gonna do for my railing. That's gonna be another video, but this is like personal project, and Greg and I kind of were in the middle of a couple things. And like I said at the beginning, this was kind of a last minute Mother's Day gift. So I probably bit off more than I could chew on the weekend, so that's why I brought Greg in. We got it done, and we'll do a video on stairs, on railing, probably the lattice, whatever we do. That'll probably be in the future. So definitely stay tuned if you guys want to watch that, see how that happens and what we do. Definitely hit that subscribe button, but you know, it's kind of just a fun video in between all the building content that we do normally, the post frame content. So if this is your first video and you haven't followed along, maybe, you know, take a look at the shop build series, my shop that's going on right now, and we're gonna be starting a major build. Biggest building we've ever done is gonna get started very soon. That's why we're kind of in the middle of some stuff, and it's gonna be crazy. So with that, you know what? Maybe you guys will follow along. If nothing else, give me a thumbs up for this video, and maybe we'll catch you on another one.